What's up, viewers, subscribers, and agents of light? It's your boy, Light Luciferian Prince, coming at y'all once again. Got bad news today, man. I ruined one of my fucking most favorite t-shirts. The one I had on in my previous video. I had that t-shirt for years. And fortunately, I was painting. I was busy. And it got ruined. Why I didn't take it off, I don't know. But moment of silence for my t-shirt. Just fuck with y'all. It's just a t-shirt. Anyway, I remember going through my comment section, and a lot of people were asking me about the vaccination, so forth and so on. I will tell y'all this, though. Before I try to expound upon this subject, this is a very touchy subject online. These entities like Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Tumblr, these MailChimp, these entities have been working tirelessly to take down information about vaccinations or people who actually talk openly about vaccinations. Now, that word today is one of the more taboo words in the quote-unquote English medical vocabulary. Now, it's all right as long as the mainstream media pushes the agenda about the vaccination. But when normal people, just the regular little guys who are not considered medical experts, talk about vaccination, then it's considered disinformation. And when the people on mainstream media come out, it's considered expert information. Now, people, I will say this, because I don't want to make it seem as if I'm compelling anybody to do anything, nor am I making anyone have hesitancy towards it. Your life is your own. It is your responsibility. It is your duty. It is your purpose to make sure you do as much research as you can on vaccinations. Not just the stuff that they're putting out there in mainstream media, not anything that has a catchy headline, but to really dig deep into them. Number two, your body, your life, period. I don't care about compulsory or ideologically compulsory vaccines. You don't have to do it. And third, a lot of people have to take it into strict consideration that these things are implemented as a form of control of the populace. Hell, I just read an article, I think the day before yesterday, where the governor of Ohio actually sent a memorandum around. I think it went through state agencies and entities, whatever. And this wasn't passed into positive law. This is just incentivization. It said that if children between the age of 12 and 7 are vaccinated, that they will actually be picked in some sort of drawing. So if their name gets drawn selectively or, just by random, that they will actually get a free ride to any college or university in the state of Ohio. It's what they say. Now, do your research. I will leave the link, literally, in the comment section so you can see it yourself. I'm not making this up. And it also says for adults who actually get vaccinated, that they would be eligible for a lottery drawing of up to $1 million. Y'all think I'm making this stuff up. This is no joke. I just showed you a video. I'm not the creator of that video. That's why I always give rights reserved to the creators of the content. He even bribed people on TV, on news, with a hamburger and French fries, people. You get the jab, you get a hamburger and French fries. Majority of Americans, prior to this COVID-19 scenario, have already been eating it on a day-to-day and consistent basis. On your ride to work or wherever you go in your daily affairs, look around you. Burger King, Wendy's, McDonald's, Sonic, Jack in the Box for some of y'all. It all depends on what you're around. Five Guys, In and Out, wherever you live. It's everywhere in America. So what are you appealing to? How stupid do you really think that or gullible the American populace really is? You know, this is the measures. No, excuse me. These are the measures that they're taking. And this is the agenda. Because, yeah, they really think that a lot of people who dwell in America are fucking idiots. And in most instances, they're right. I mean, I'm just being real. Now, when you realize the suppression of certain facts and evidence about how this is going, how this is spinning out of control quickly, you have to be aware that this is not accidental. This is not accidental. I'm not here to scare you. I'm just here to make you think about this. Preventative measures, people. Don't focus on the ideology of what's going on in society. Prepare yourself. And notice that word. I speak with great emphasis. Prepare. Because in any instance, you have to realize that nothing in this country happens without a significant impact. It's called problem, reaction, scenario. Problem, reaction, and the solution. This is the problem, reaction scenario. Or some people who are more formally educated in the higher realms of the ecclesia of the academia. The Hegelian dialectic. We know what it is. So now you have the problem, which was created, which was 19. Can't say it on the airways, right? COVID-19 was the problem. The reaction was fear, panic, shutdown, quarantine. Solution, vaccination. Ooh. See how easy that is? You get people to panic enough. Now you present the solution. Here you go, people. This is the remedy. There are more people documented by Johns Hopkins University that have been vaccinated than people who are actually, in the United States, actually have had reported cases of COVID. What does that tell you? In, I think, a state of Georgia, I believe over 6,511,000. Last I checked the numbers. And I think 119 people were vaccinated. But if you look at the documented and recorded cases, it's like this. Matter of fact, way out here, you can't even see it. That's as far as the East and the West. The two will never meet. However, it's your choice. Also to mention preventative measures is basically saying that you are the person who's responsible for your own health and well-being. No health service can compel you to do shit. Now, I know that they will try to make it compulsory for people with employment, but people, you have to remember that in order for an employee to force or compel you, since they are not a health agent, they must make themselves liable by contract if they do wish to compel you, particularly for taking that vaccination, to continue your term of employment. Yes, people, that is a fact. They can't say you have to take the vaccine or else you can't work. Well, who's saying this? Since you're not a certified medical health board, or you're not a part of the medical bar association, or you're not any particular credible scenario as far as a bureau of certain affairs in regards to medical procedures, then I can't take your word for that. But I'll take it if you make yourself liable, because from the moment you take it, it's actually considered what? It's considered something that is non-FDA approved, which means that all these things that are non-FDA approved are subject to what? Scrutiny by studies, by research, after the recipient has taken, quote unquote, the vaccination. How many times do y'all sit here and watch daytime TV and they tell you, hey, have you been to the military? Have you used these particular types of earplugs? If so, you are entitled to compensation. Why? Because that proves that that company, particularly, that furnished those earplugs to those people who actually fought in those wars and suffered from hearing loss or any type of other sustainable damage to their, quote unquote, hearing, they are actually entitled to compensation because the company knew that it was faulty, but they never disclosed it to the public. I told people, if you survive long enough, you will hear it in a few years. Hey, Has you or anyone you've known taken the Johnson & Johnson vaccination related to COVID-19? If so, there's a class action lawsuit in which you may be entitled to compensation. Mark my fucking words. It'll happen before 2025. Now, am I a prophet? No. Am I a seer? No. Am I psychic? No. I just know how this stuff works because they run this stuff in trials. 19 to 2021 into 2022, that's 2 years. 2022 into 2024, that's 4 years. That should give sustainable evidence enough for them to come with the next pandemic in 2025, which is called SPARS, which you haven't even heard of yet. Oh yes, I actually have the information from Johns Hopkins University on what it is. Yes, and the year is dated. Don't believe me? Hey, take whatever you will. Just like the HIV scenario, which is prevalent amongst society, and Project MK Naomi from the trials from 1970 to 1972, from 73 to 75. Now, I know other sources might vary. Some people might say 71, 72, 73, 74, but from the sustainable information gathered, it was actually from the from the late 60s, and it was actually formulated in Fort Detrick, Alabama. This is a proven fact. Now, these things are actually given to populations of people. And I'm going to go a little bit further, especially for the melanated people on this one. This is one of the reasons why a lot of you people that's melanated need to understand what the fuck I'm getting ready to say. Straight. Whether you might have your misgivings about it, whether you might have your indoctrination, whether you might get your daily, nightly dose of David Muir on world news. Let me tell you something. These people don't give a fuck about your existence. Y'all think that Kamala Harris sat there and got the little jet talking about she got vaccinated? Let me tell you something. That was the motherfucking biggest public sham they ever had perpetrated to y'all, because they knew that y'all would believe what you see and do no research on anything. Oh, Kamala got it. I'm going to get it too. Yeah. If she jumped off a fucking bridge, would you do it? Most of y'all probably would. Kamala's in the water. The fuck? I understand. First people who ever get saved in any type of national emergency are fucking heads of state. So you think that was really something that they really just gave her? Come on, man. Y'all better grow a fucking brain. Here we go. Pharmaceutical technology. mRNA vaccines. Now, I'm not going to read the whole article, but I will expound upon it a little bit. And I had to put my laptop literally on my knee because I got tired of my videos turning my head to the left. Experts estimate that achieving herd immunity to COVID-19, herd immunity, watch that word, herd immunity to COVID-19 will require upwards of 70 to 90% of the population to have immunity. Estimated 380 million people on the face of this continent, up to 70 to 80%. You do the math. That leaves what? That's a 20% left of population of people who are non-vaccinated. So that means that they're trying to get majority of the population vaccinated. Oh, they will stop at no ends. While vaccine efficacy for Moderna's mRNA, quote, 1273 vaccine is 94%, while the Pfizer BioNTech mRNA vaccine is 95%. Some models estimate it will require roughly 80% of the population to be vaccinated if the protection lasts for 1 year to achieve herd immunity. Didn't I tell y'all those trials? They run them through 365-day cycles, either annually or biannually, as I even gave you the proof. So this year, they're just going to test it out on the population and see how it works. See how certain classes and certain particular socioeconomic conditions affect people as well, because they know for a fact they have to gather data before they can proceed to the next step. Right now, y'all just in the perfunctory phases of them actually using y'all as lab rats, the people who are getting them. So all these dumbass people who sitting there touting your face, I've been vaccinated, stay the far fuck away from them. You can do what you want, but I suggest you will. Some recent polls have indicated that up to 85% of the population in the U.S. are willing to get vaccinated. And these numbers have increased as the death toll to the virus continues to mount. What was that song? Let the bodies hit the floor? I forgot who sang that shit, but these numbers vary across geographies. 79% of the Danish population, 54% of the population of Italy, see, they smart, and 50% of the population of Sweden willing to get vaccinated. Why is the numbers in the United States so fucking high? And these numbers have increased because they're easiest to manipulate. According to a recent study by the Carlsberg Foundation, do your research on who that is or what that entity is. COVID-19 mRNA vaccine disinformation. This is the part I really wanted to get to, people. Part of the resistance to vaccination stems from disinformation and safety concerns about these vaccines. Common disinformation seen on social media includes reports that mRNA vaccines can alter the recipient's DNA, can cause infertility in women, and are full of toxins, or can cause autism. I just put a previous video up there that particularly told you that the percentage of infertility rates have increased by 483%. Why hasn't that been taken down off the internet? Obviously, it had to have been research and facts done on it in order for it to be sustainable, credible information. While these concerns can be countered by fact-checking and information campaigns, i.e. gatekeeping ideology to keep you in the slump, they are often accepted by people looking for confirmation for preconceived fears, i.e. quote-unquote, what they call conspiracy theorists. There are also, and I'm going to give you a reason why you should never be called that, but I don't want to really put the carriage before the horse. There are also additional safety concerns raised on social media about the safety of a novel vaccine technology that has been rapidly developed. Some potential recipients are planning on delaying being vaccinated until more data is gathered on long-term adverse events. Long-term adverse events is also known as study. So far, the data on adverse events for the vaccine has been promising. Yep, they work hard. The devil works hard. But remember, people, you need to work harder. The Pfizer/BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine had 0.6 in the vaccine group and 0.5 in the placebo group report at least one serious adverse event. One serious. So that means that depending on a statistical count, let's say of particularly 1 every 1,000 people, at least 250, 275 people should actually be studied for some sort of adverse effect in some sense. Now, I know it's a small percentage, but that still means that it may not be the same in all, because remember, there's a placebo group and then there's also the actual vaccination, which is still a point higher. But that means that anyone that particularly receives this, I should say, I wouldn't say even out of not 1,000, at least out of 10,000 would be actually that particular statistic to be a little bit more accurate. For the first 1.8 million U.S. Moderna and Pfizer biotech vaccine recipients, only 29 experienced a severe allergic reaction. Numbers ain't really adding up, but y'all believe what you want. Well, there are concerns over long-term effects. For most vaccines, the most serious reactions occur within the initial weeks after the administration. So it just lies dormant in your system, just doing whatever the fuck it wants, and you don't even know what it's doing. But it said weeks. It's unlikely that spike proteins expressed by the mRNA will have long-term effects, as mRNA used for their translation is quickly broken down, will not be available for the long-term use in the system. In other words, it bypasses your immune system, and your immune system doesn't react in time to combat it, which means that it's a ghost virus that's living in your system. It's a phantom virus, which at any time can resurge or reemerge at the time of you actually becoming ill, because your white blood cell count, your red blood cell count will drastically decrease. And we'll talk about something. Long-term effects from other vaccinations include the Rotoshield vaccine, which caused a rare type of bowel obstruction, and the 1976 swine influenza vaccine, which is associated with increased risk for developing Guillain-Barré syndrome. Do your research on it. This was actually when a lot of people were actually returning from quote-unquote Vietnam, and they were saying that people had swine flu, but they were actually using this as a technique to basically try this on people as a test subject. And like I said, I'm going to get to that point later on in this video about people being used as guinea pigs. But they had to come out years later, much later, and say, we apologize. We're sorry. It's happened to you. We will promise to not do it again. People, you better be aware. mRNA, a developing field in vaccine tech. I'm only going to read just the first 2 paragraphs. While these are first approved mRNA vaccines have been under development since 2011. For cancer indications, it's highly likely that long-term issues based on the technology would have surfaced by now. Fuck out of here. Examples of mRNA vaccines include CureVac's rabies vaccine, which has announced positive data from an interim analysis of safety and immunogenicity in its phase 1 study. Moderna's mRNA-1647, which has positive interim results from a phase 2 study. I keep telling y'all, phase 1, phase 2, it happens in stints. From Cytomegalovirus megalovirus infections, Moderna's mRNA-4157 for solid tumors, which is in phase 2 for metastatic melanoma, and BioNTech's BNT-112, which is in phase 2 for prostate cancer. Didn't I tell y'all that they keep running these fucking phases to keep using all these guinea pigs? The populace, they don't give a fuck about race. They just need a willing and a motherfucking voluntary subject to test this shit on. There are potential risks from mRNA vaccines that include local and systematic inflammatory responses, which can lead to autoimmune conditions. I just fucking said that shit. And the toxic effects of any synthetic nucleosides or vaccine delivery components. However, modifications made to the nucleosides have been found to drastically reduce the immune system response to the synthetic nucleosides. I am not a scientist, people. I'm just a man that loves to read and study. Let's look up the definition of herd immunity. Herd immunity is also called herd effect, community immunity, population immunity, or mass immunity. All of the above. It's a form of indirect protection, not direct, from infectious diseases that can occur with some diseases when a sufficient percentage of the population has become immune to an infection, whether through vaccination or previous infections, thereby reducing the likelihood of infection for individuals who lack immunity. Immune individuals are unlikely to contribute to disease transmission, disrupting chains of infection which stops or slows the spread of disease. The greater the proportion of immune individuals in the community, the smaller the probability that non-immune individuals will come into contact with an infectious individual. Why haven't y'all found the cure for the common cold then? Let that hang over your head. To my Melanites, let us go further. This is why you should not trust at all, from history, not conjecture, these types of experiments, because that's what's being run on population right now. And you need to take preventative measures to make sure you instill within yourself that you don't do it. Now, if you want to, it's your choice, it's your life, it's your body, you got the right to do it, do whatever the fuck you want. But individuals can become immune by recovering from an earlier infection through vaccine or through vaccination. Some individuals cannot become immune because of medical conditions, such as immunodeficiency, such as people with HIV, or immunosuppression. And for this group, herd immunity is a crucial method of protection. It's a lie. Your immune system has already been compromised. Once the herd immunity threshold had been reached, disease gradually disappears from a population. Well, in this case, by fictitious imaginative society. Oh my God, more people are being vaccinated. COVID-19 is a byword. This elimination, if achieved worldwide, may result in a permanent reduction in the number of infections to zero, called eradication. Now we know goddamn well over history, over time, ain't no such thing as zero. Motherfuckers get sick all the time from just general basic shit. There's no such thing as absolute zero in the medical field when it comes to viruses or virology at all. Herd immunity created by vaccination contributed to the eventual eradication of smallpox in 1977. I told you about that in my previous video. That bullshit. Contributed to the reduction of other diseases. Herd immunity applies only to contagious disease, meaning it is only transmitted from one individual to another. Tetanus, for example, is infectious but not contagious, so herd immunity does not apply. All right, let's get off of that. Let us talk about something to my melanated people, my carbon-created individuals, of why you should not trust these types of quote-unquote government procedures. Tuskegee syphilis study. Oh, did I wake you up? Let me go keep ringing this bell. The Tuskegee study of untreated syphilis in a Negro male, as I said in my previous video, they love attacking the man, and formally refers to as the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. Its real name is the Tuskegee study of untreated syphilis in a Negro male, but like I said, they have to revise history so they can take the edge off. The Tuskegee syphilis study, the Tuskegee study of untreated syphilis in the African American male, the U.S. Public Health Service syphilis study at Tuskegee, or commonly known as the Tuskegee experiment, was an ethically abusive study conducted between 1932 and 1972, which is 40 years, by the United States Public Health Service and a Center for Disease Control and Prevention, also known as the CDC. The same people who sit here every day and tout down your throat the bitter wormwood water on how to live your fucking life. The purpose of this study was to observe the natural history of untreated syphilis. Although the African American men who participated in the study were told that they were receiving free health care from the federal government of the United States, they were not. I'm not going to go any further. Don't they tell you this vaccine is free? If these individuals who went through 40 years of agony, research study, no treatment whatsoever, were told that this was free, and they received it, and many of them perished, what's the difference, people? The only difference is now is tracking not just a specific group of people, but the world. It doesn't take a genius particularly to realize this. It doesn't. It takes a gullible population of fucking sheep to accept this. It's critical at times like this to really give yourself some sort of notice of conscience. Now, to the sheep, you're going to do what you're going to do. If you're a slave to a paycheck and whatever, and they're going to compel you to do what you will. It's your choice. See, I don't want to make it seem like I'm anti-vax. I'm pro-self. I read and I've done research, and if it's documented in history, we got proof, we got the receipts, I'm not going for it. That's me. Now, am I sitting here trying to lead a campaign of people? No, you're going to do what you're going to do regardless. It's your life. It's your choice. But the only implication I imply in my video is for people to think for themselves. You know, you're taking a great risk because you have to realize that in India, there are people literally laying on the street, crematoriums all over the place. I'm talking about massive numbers of people being fucking whacked. You know, just think of the conditions that those people are in. This is not just United States, y'all. This is global. Remember Agenda 21, sustainable development. That's a nice way for elites to mask, but at the same time, quote unquote, tell you what the fuck they're doing. So this ain't no conspiracy theory. This is proven. 21st century sustainable development. People sit here in their vain ideologies. They got all these billions of dollars, try to convince you that we determine who lives and who dies. So now you're playing creator. But the only thing you can create is a scenario to make that means come to an end. If you don't understand what I just said, just remember, anything that's free, it's not voluntary. See, diabetics have to pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars per month to survive. And this is something that is a impaired bodily function that they live and suffer with. And the actual treatment of the medication helps and assists them to live, quote unquote, a full life without the complications of diabetes. Here it is. They're telling you they'll give you hamburgers and French fries for a vaccine, while diabetics have to pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a year to stay alive. People, the choice is yours. It is what it is. Take preventative measures. If you don't, live with the result. Swallow a blue pill. Nobody's going to be here forever, but that don't mean you have to check out early either. You know, hotels, they give you the option if you're a certain member level. Hey, you know, you can check out at 12, but we got late checkout. No, I check out at 12. That's what you're saying when you get the vaccine. Fools. When have y'all ever heard it reported that any one of these people who are passing this agenda upon you are getting it or will get it? I think I have to look for it. When I find it, I'll put it in the comment section as well, where they're particularly telling you that the individual who was, I think it was in a foreign country. I don't want to misquote it. I have to do my research on it so I can find it for you. That it's like, yo, well, all right, if you're so confident in the vaccine, why don't you take it? You out of your fucking mind? The owner of McDonald's said he don't even eat that food. He said, I'll never eat it. See, you have to realize these people who are the so-called powers that be, they suggest to you to do something they wouldn't even do themselves. You know? Over 1 billion served. We know goddamn well it ain't even 1 billion cows in America. What the fuck are y'all really eating? Here it is. Millions of people. Some with health care, some without health care. Don't matter. Here's a free vaccine. Hopefully y'all will figure it out before it's too late. But, like I said, this is years in the making, people. And I'm not a person who's prophet, seer, psychic. No. I just watch the pattern of shit. They want to reduce population. Sort of like when you're in a house with a bunch of kids and they get on your fucking nerves. You just can't wait to send their ass off to the bowling alley so you can have some peace and quiet. That's all like what these people are doing. Just on a greater scale, not on a more innocent scale like children. Because you know eventually they got to come back. They want you gone. That's the fucking fact. Do what you will with your life. But don't let somebody else decide for you. We, especially people of the melanated delegation, the indigenous population, we have been through constant systemic suppression of life, of the pursuit of our property and so forth. So if any of you people opt to do it, I wish you well. Because you have sufficient historical evidence that this shit is psychotic. Now, the opposite end of the spectrum, you know, like people, oh yeah, sure, we're doing our job. You know, we're vaccinated. We can go on planes now. Yeah, it's global, dummy. It's everywhere. So just because you can get on a plane to try to go from here to there, you're still under the same conditioning. Because the United States, or no other government particularly, or no government of the world runs this shit. It's a secret cabal of people who are actually pulling the string to this shit. It's not by accident. Deep state, call it what you will. It's been here since the beginning of time. Everything that you had before you is puppetry. Just don't be fooled by the show. Okay? Don't be fooled by the smoke and mirrors. Take preventative measures. Keep yourself safe. And be knowledgeable about what you deal with. Eat healthy. Exercise. Keep your body in shape. Keep your mental health in shape. You know, meditate. Focus on your spirituality. Stay contacted with your creator. Be positive. Fuck how the world burns. We've been through it enough, people. We've lived, if you at my age, from what I am now, all the shit I've been through, man, this is nothing. It's like treading shallow water. But the average person who can't swim, man, it's fucking terrifying. First time viewing this channel, like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification button every time I drop a video. You'll be properly informed. People, stay awake. Stop being fooled. And if people look at you like you're fucking crazy, and they say, well, I'm going to go get the vaccine. Get the fuck out of my house. Get away from me. Because you are not good. You're not healthy to yourself. This means that you definitely can't have my best interest at hand. Because amongst me and my loved ones, oh no, we don't play that shit. We don't play that shit. No. Don't play that shit. You're grown. Period. It doesn't take grown to really validate truths in your own personal self, but it's responsibility. Fuck you. Get the fuck out of my face. I'll take the vaccine. I'll take it. But I better have no pulse. End of discussion. Agents, fuck you. Don't contact me. It is what it is. People, stay tuned for the truth and stay vigilant. Only at these times, these fucking wicked, evil times that have been here, that we have lived amongst, this is a very good time to be alive. You see shit that people wanted to see from years ago and they ain't had a chance to see. From eons ago, and you see it firsthand, unfolding before your very eyes. It's fucking amazing. Stay tuned. Be safe out there, y'all. Peace, light, love. Stay aware.